Everyone's going to speak. You speak. Welcome everybody. So we just sang the Berdichever Niggunim, and we know that the Berdichever was considered to be the defender of Klal Yisrael. That the Berdichever was a person who loved every Jew, who cared about every single Jew, and did whatever he could to lift another Jew up and to give them chiyus, chizik, love and support. And so it's only fitting that we sing this song as we enter into this gathering together in honor of the Shloshim Rabbi Dovid Yosef Kidybinski, Alav Shalom, who was such a friend and someone who cared about everyone in this room. And I'll say just a few more words. It's not the night for me to speak. I would like to offer that we have an empty seat right beside me up here, and anyone who wants to speak, please will come up and speak from this spot, just so that we can have this recorded for what people have to say about Reb Dovid Yosef and the impact that he had on everybody, for the family, for all the talmidim, that everybody has something in posterity that we have of what everybody felt. So I'll open the floor right away. I wanted to say, going along the lines of what we were saying, that everybody knows. I was thinking a lot about him over the last month, and in particular over the last little while. And I happened to be learning giving a shir on the story of Rabbi Nachman called the Chacham and the Tam. And the inyan of Tamimus, in my mind, is maybe the best word. If someone knows what Tamimus means, is maybe the best word to describe David Yosef. This was a person who, despite being extremely brilliant, being incredibly talented, gifted, intelligent, and could have been a person that had a lot to attach an ego to, right? And could have used such knowledge, like many people use, in order to show other people how great they are, and in order to use that knowledge to belittle people, in order to use that knowledge in a way of just showing off. And David Yosef, it's a joke to even start talking about it, because he was so far from this midah. He was a person who was even greater than his powerful intellect, and that his intelligence and all his learning was his anivus. Such a humble person that never wanted to step on anybody's toes, never wanted to show off, never wanted to do anything like this. Everything he ever did was with tamimus, pshitus, and with love and care, and only thinking about the other person. This is our experience. And on top of this, he was someone that I saw a few of his attributes of tamimus that are so inspiring to me. This is a person who every day, one of the ways that we see the inyan of tamimus identified from Rabbi Nachman is it's a person who's not interested in what's going to be, not interested in what was, not interested in showing off, in all of these things. Rather, a person of Tamimos is a person who does what's important right in front of them, who lives in the present moment. And in that present moment, does what's important. When Dovid Yosef was davening Shacharis, nothing else mattered. He was focused, he was davening. When Dovid Yosef was talking to another Yid, it wasn't about what else is going on, what can I show this person that I know. None of this was ever a thought. Whatever is going on in the current moment, what good can I do right now? What can I bring light into the world in the current moment without any other thoughts? And so we all felt when we talked to him that he cared about us. How many people have said the words to me, he was like my brother? How many people felt like this? He cared so much, he gave so much. And as I'm saying, despite having the abilities and the talents and the intellect and the learning to be able to be, he had what to have a shtickle gaiva about, and there was not a trace of it. Only caring about other people and being in the state of humility. And the times that we spent together are so precious and so treasured. And we had the few times the whole family came up and stayed up here for Shabbos, and the time spent is so special and so sweet. And everybody has this deep feeling. And I don't want to belittle his Torah. I don't want to belittle the fact that he gave every single night of the week Kim'at a shir. Who does such a thing? Who has the koyach? Who has the ability? I don't want to belittle the fact that he knew more about Torah and Nister than probably anyone in the country. I don't want to belittle the fact that he knew Torah and Nigla, and that he learned nonstop. And I don't want to belittle any of this. But everybody knows that the thing that we're all going to miss most is his caring, sweet, Avas Yisrael, Dika nature, his love for every Yid, and his anivos, and the way he was able to relate to and lift up and give eitzes tovos to all of his talmidim. We all miss him so much, and I wanted to make sure that I know a lot of the talmidim are English speakers, or at the very least not Yiddish speakers, and the beautiful levaya that was given for Dovid. It was once again, not to take anything away from it. It was very beautiful, but there was not much of an opportunity for the talmidim and the English speakers to have a chelik. So the purpose of our gathering today is to speak about our feelings, our memories, all the things that we felt from Dovid Yosef. And I would like to invite anyone who wants to speak. We have to make a series. Do you want to go first? Yeah. Chaskal Zions will go first, just to come sit in the chair over here and speak, so you can speak to the Zoom. There's people online who are joining, and Sevi will go next. And I'll ask, please, just I really feel like many people are going to want to say something. So let's try to keep it to something of a not too long, if you know what I mean. Once again, welcome everybody. And if anybody knows if people are trying to get on the Zoom and can't get on, you could please help out. That would be amazing. Thank you. And if you're going to speak, just please say what your name is and what your connection to Birds of Yosef was.
I think it's
very... Just before we go further, I just want to make sure to welcome, especially on the other side of the mechitza, is Mrs. Kidybinski, and I believe a couple of her daughters and other family, and Shlomo is here beside us. And I want to make just a special welcome and thank you to the family for coming to join us. Okay, go ahead.
I think it's very, very appropriate that this Shloshim Suda is happening here in Kahal Yereim. Rabbi Kidybinski loved this place. He, from all the places, of course he was in Babov, but he really connected to Kahal Yereim. He connected to Rabbi Gilson and to all of the Chaverim here. He really, whenever he had an opportunity to be here for Shabbos or a Suda, or he used to speak on Tisha B'Av many times, he really, this was the place he wanted to be always. And so it's very appropriate that we're having this Suda here. I'm going to try to be as brief as possible, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about Rabbi Kidybinski's life and a little bit of his story, and some little pieces people might know already, but I don't know if everyone knows quite the whole story. I'm going to try to be brief, but I think it's very important to understand, we had a loss, and we have to understand what. Rabbi Kidybinski was born in Poland. His parents were, I think, Orthodox Catholics. His father got a job, was an engineer, and he got a job actually in Kuwait. It had to do with the oil in Kuwait. And yes, can't hear you. He was born in Kuwait? Yeah. He was born in Kuwait. Oh, okay. He was born in Kuwait. His parents were from Poland. He was born in Kuwait during this time that his father was working as an engineer. At the age of 5, he had 2 reoccurring dreams. He told me every single night he had these dreams. So the first dream was that he was wandering in a forest, and he didn't know where he was going, and there were no people, and he was very scared and frightened. And he was wandering, and he had to find somebody. He had to find himself. He didn't know how he's getting out of there. And he's wandering in a forest, and he sees in the distance there's a group of people. And he goes closer, and he sees it's a group of people sitting together. I think he told me they were chanting, but he was happy to see people. And he goes to the people, and he asks them for help. And they're all shunning him. They don't want to have anything to do with him. And he keeps going around to different people. No one wants to have anything to do with him. And he says, why aren't you helping me? And they point to his hand. He looks on the palm of his hand, and there's a Magen Dovid on the palm of his hand. And they did not want to help him. That's the dream, reoccurring dream every night. This is the first time he ever saw Magen Dovid. He didn't know what it was. He just knew that this is a star in his dream. The second dream reoccurring every night was that he's the same thing. He's wandering, he's lost, but this time he's in a street in a city, and he's trying to find his way out of there, and he's going to the different doorsteps of the different houses in the city, and he sees he sees mezuzahs on the doorways, and he's going door to door, and he sees mezuzahs, and he did not know what this meant. And that's the dream. The same dream he told me every single night, these 2 dreams. He didn't know what this meant. His parents were religious Christians. So in December, there's a certain very big Christian holiday, right? And they bring a tree into their house, and they put a star on the tree. And I guess the minig is that they get the kids to decorate the tree. And they put a star on the top of the tree. Rabbi Kidybinski put a Magen Dovid on the top of the tree. And his parents looked at him in horror. That, why are you putting a Jewish symbol on our tree? And he said, Jewish symbol? I don't know about a Jewish symbol. This is a symbol I see every night in my dream. And in Kuwait, they belonged to, it was obviously an Arab country, but they belonged to the Christian community. They used to bring him they were religious Christians, his parents. They brought him to church. Every time he came to church, he fainted. Every single time they brought him into church, he fainted. They took him to a doctor, there's nothing wrong with him. And he only fainted when he was in church. And this continued to go on until they figured out they can't bring this kid to church. So they stopped bringing him. Eventually he moved to Toronto. They moved to Toronto, the parents. He was 12 years old. And they enrolled him. He was in public school, but the public school used to encourage religious instruction. So they sent him, there were certain clergy members, Catholic, and there was a priest, and he was giving them lessons. And Rabbi Kidybinski was asking a lot of questions, and the priest couldn't handle him. He was asking theological questions on Christianity. The priest couldn't handle him and threw him out. Rabbi Kidybinski continued to search, and he searched, and he started in Christianity. So he searched Christianity, was not satisfied. He went to Islam, he went to Buddhism, he went to Hinduism, and he could not, anything that he was trying to figure out, nothing made sense to him. He eventually came back to Christianity and started studying the Old Testament. And when he studied the Old Testament, that was the only thing that started to make sense to him. And he became very, very involved in Judaism. At this time, the internet was people were starting to have the internet in their home. His father went and bought a computer. And Rabbi Kidybinski on the internet was like, he could not get enough. He was Googling anything Jewish, anything Jewish, anything Jewish. He was devouring anything Jewish on the internet. And he started on the internet, he learned the entire Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and he started learning Mishnayos and Gemara and Medrash. At 16 years old, his parents once came home with a full car of, I guess, groceries. They came home on a Shabbos, and they asked him to unload the car for him. And he said, "What do you mean? It's a Reshus Harabim. I can't." He gave his parents a whole lesson on what it means, Reshus Harabim. He cannot take the groceries from the car into the house. That was when he was 16 years old. His parents saw that the only way this kid is going to be satisfied is if he can quench his thirst for Judaism. So they decided to set him up with a Reform rabbi that would convert him to Judaism. And after an hour, they both saw that this is not a shidduch. It's not going to happen. And it was not going to work. And this Reform rabbi said, "Listen, your place is Lawrence and Bathurst. That's where you got to go." He said, "I don't know anybody at Lawrence and Bathurst, but you belong over there with those guys. You have to go to Lawrence and Bathurst." Okay. So he didn't know what that was. He started going to Lawrence and Bathurst, and this Jewish bookstore and this gift store and this kosher restaurant, this kosher grocery. And over there at Lawrence and Bathurst, he was like a kid in a candy store. By the time he reached 17 years old, he had made a decision that he wants to officially be Megar. And he didn't know what that was all about. So he decided, he did his research, and he walked into the Beis Din. And at that time, there was a very chashuv person. His name was Rabbi Tradbergs. I don't think he lives here in town anymore. And he was the head of the Beis Din. Either the head of the Beis Din, or he was in charge of, sorry? Secretary of the Beis Din. Secretary of the Beis Din. So he walked into Rabbi Tradbergs at 17 years old, and he said, I want to become Jewish. So this does not happen at 17 years old. And Rabbi Tradberg said, "You know what, come back in 5 years." And Rabbi Kidybinski was not satisfied with that. So Rabbi Kidybinski, figured out through the internet where this Rabbi Tradberg is and who he is and where his shul is. And he decided to pop in that night to the shul because Rabbi Kidybinski didn't give up. When he wanted something, he went for it. So he appears in Rabbi Tradberg's shul. He had a shul. The shul is still there. It's on Bayview. It's a different rabbi today. He appears in the shul, and Rabbi Tradberg is giving a shir in Gemara on Arvei Pesachim. And he walks in. Rabbi Tradberg thinks he walks in. Now there's a halacha that it is asur to teach a non-Jewish person Gemara. It's forbidden. So Rabbi Tradberg sees he walks in, and Rabbi Tradberg says, "I will not continue to give this shir as long as this individual is in the room." So
he gave the shir. No.
So Dovid Yosef said, "Well, to tell you the truth, I've learned some Talmud already." So he says, "Really?" So Rabbi Tradberg said, "You know what? Come, David, come, you give the shir." So Rabbi Kidybinski came to the front, and Rabbi Kidybinski had just mastered, through an art scroll Gemara, brachas. all 63 pages of brachas. Now the truth is, the sugyas in brachas, some of those sugyas are very, very close to the sugyas of Arbeit Psachim. With the evening when to say Shema, there's a lot of similarities between these two. So Yosef, he never looked at a Gemara like that before, Rabbi Kidybinski. He opened up the Gemara, and for a half hour, he gave a shiur in Arvei Psachim. Rabbi Tradbrooks was in shock and awe. Shock and awe. And that's when everything changed. And then Rabbi Tradbrooks took him very, very seriously. And they arranged the gerus at 18 years old. So now it was time for Rabbi Kidybinski to go to yeshiva. He never went to yeshiva before. They decided that the best place for him would be Shar Yashuv, a famous yeshiva for good beginners. Far Rockaway, exactly. For a famous yeshiva, it was Rabbi Freifeld Yeshiva, Allah Shalom. And he came in there to the mashgiach. I think his name was Rabbi Halpern. And he came in there and he said, he'd like to come to the yeshiva. And they said, tell me your background. He says, well, I'm 18 years old and I'm a Ger Tzedek. 18 years old, a Ger Tzedek. So no, Rabbi Halpern said, this yeshiva is not for you. It's not for you. So Rabbi Kidybinski said, come, let's talk in learning for a little bit. So he went to a room, they sat down for a half hour, and that was it. You come in. Guess what? Before long, he was giving a shiur in Ramchal in Sefer Derech Hashem to the whole yeshiva. And then already he was in Far Rockaway. So then already he was always longing and searching. He had a friend, I don't remember the name now. Jeff? Oh, Jeff? His friend was Jeff, okay. So Jeff had some kind of connection to Babiv. He used to like to go to the Tish. So he brought Rabbi Kidybinski to Babiv, and Rabbi Kidybinski fell in love in Babiv and started coming and getting very close. And at that time, the Baba Rebbe, Rabbi Naftuli, Zecher Tzadik v'Kodesh Livracha, was not well, but his half brother, who is the current Baba Rebbe of 48th Street, was very gesinnt, and he took a very big liking to Rabbi Kidybinski, and he became a ben bayis by the Baba Rebbe before the Baba Rebbe was Rebbe. He became a ben bayis there, and he shabbosim there, and the Baba Rebbe loved this person. When a person goes in to give a kvittel to a Rebbe, so they're usually going in, they're asking for, they want a bracha for a shidduch for their daughter, or they need parnasa, or they need gezint. When Rabbi Kidybinski told me when he used to go in to give a kvittel to his Rebbe, the Bava Rebbe, he used to use the opportunity to ask Kabbalah questions. He wasn't asking, that's what he used the opportunity for, but they're a klal. I even know that, and he was very close to him. And he taught him a lot of Rabbi Kidybinski's knowledge in Paninius Torah came from the Bava Rebbe. He really started him off. Ad kedei kach that even at one time, I don't know if this is written anywhere, but the Bava Rebbe taught him the kavanas of the son Zeruv that he had by mitzvah tans. That when the son Zeruv used to dance mitzvah tans, these were the kavanas. I don't know if this is printed anywhere. And when Rabbi Kidybinski danced mitzvah tans for my two sons by their chasna, I made sure that he was using those kavanas. The Bava fell in love with him, and eventually they found a Baruch Hashem, a very, very, very good shidduch for him, our Rebbetzin Kidybinski. And you can still, I don't know if anybody has, I'm sure some people have seen it, but you can go to YouTube and you can see Rabbi Kidybinski's wedding, and the Bava Rebbe married him off like his own child. What does that mean? That means it was in the Bava Shul with all the bleachers, with thousands of people standing around, and the Rachmistrivka Rebbe was there, and the Skalena Rebbe was there. It was like, you only see this when a Rebbe makes a chasna for their own child. That's when you see such a thing. And that's how he got married. His parents were there, and you can still see this. If anyone wants to go to YouTube, you can still see Rabbi Kidybinski's wedding on YouTube. eventually Rabbi Kidybinski ended up coming back to Toronto, and what can I say? He came back here. He was in Babuv, and he had a very big cheshik, always a desire to help other people and to guide other people. And he started doing his thing, and eventually, Baruch Hashem, there were shoivavim, minyanim, every week of shoivavim. And as Rabbi Gisselson said, every night he gave a shir. He started giving a shir. It was in the Bayit, and it was by Rabbi Bixen Spanner. And we used to go to different places every night to give a shir. And then came COVID, and then the shurim all went on Zoom, which in the end is a good thing, because Baruch Hashem, if you go to the website paninistoronto.com, you will see that there are thousands. Baruch Hashem, you give a shir every night for many, many years. I think these shurim are going on. It could be 15 years already. Is it 13 years? Is it 12 years? It's a long time. Sorry?
It's only recorded since COVID.
No, but we recorded on a recorder before COVID, but since COVID, they're all videos. So you have thousands of shurim online. And Rabbi Kidybinski was always, he taught in Chabad Yeshiva, and more recently he was teaching he was actually teaching English, but he was teaching in Rabbi Kaplan's yeshiva. And they said by the Levaya, Rabbi Adler said that Rabbi Kaplan, the Rosh Yeshiva, said about Rabbi Kidybinski that he had more hashpah, he had more effect on the talmidim in his yeshiva more than any of the rebbeim. And he was an English teacher. And why was that? Because the way Rabbi Kidybinski taught English it wasn't just English, it was English, it was geography, it was the whole thing. The whole thing was Paninius Torah, the whole thing. That's how and he was such a warm person, and he cared about every Talmud. And it's one thing if you teach the Gemara, okay, so the talmidim, of course, that's a Rebbe, he's teaching Gemara. But if you're teaching science or geography or poetry, and you're teaching it with the outlook that Ein Oid Milvadoi, there's only Hashem, and it's all Hashem, and if you're teaching it like that, that's a whole different thing. And that's what he said about him. And he was always just so excited to give over Torah and to give a shir. What can I say? Longing. He was always trying to get there. He was always trying to connect. And he always wanted to help other people to connect. And like Rabbi Gisselson said, a very, very humble person, very unassuming, humble person. You know, he got into the highest places in learning. Davened from a Siddur Rashash. You've probably seen it because he was around. You could see him davening from the. It came to Nanuim when by the Lulavan and Esrog, that the Nanuim take an hour, and he was in Baba. What is it? The Challah is 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and he had to go to a different room to finish. He was so into the davening, and even at home, a wonderful father, and a father close to his Rebbetzin and close to his children. I remember he used to tell me that, you know, the Knei Nahora it's a big family, the Kidybinski family, Knei Nahora Ken Yerbu, but he used to tell me that sometimes the only time that he has to spend with his wife is Malava Malka, and they could make a Malava Malka at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. They would sit down together, and they could sit there for 2 hours, from 2 till 5 a.m. or from 3 till 5. He told me this. And what can I say? Such a close friend, and such a loss to this Kehillah, and a loss to Babuv, and a loss to Toronto. And you know, I don't know how these things work. If he would be here, I would ask him. I don't know if now he's here listening. I assume he is. Yeah, he is. Oh, I assume he is. If I know him, he is. And Yosef, I'm talking to you now.
And he will tell you, don't exaggerate.
Dovid Yosef, we miss you very much, and we're all connected to you. And you were mechazakas very, very much for many, many, many years. I don't have to ask you, but I'm going to ask you anyway. You should continue to have us all in mind. Kahal Yereim and Rabbi Giselson and his family and all the Chaverim and Babiv and Rabbi Führer's family and all the Chaverim there and all your Chaverim in New York and your dear Rebbitzin and your Zisa Kinderlach. You should continue to watch over them as you did when you were here. Now you're in a higher place. You're in a much more closer place, and you can accomplish much, much more where you are now. Continue to have us in mind and be poil for us. And you were so into the situation in Eretz Yisrael that happened right before you were taken from us. You were so into it. You had such nachas. He showed me. It's on the video. Everyone should see his last video on Thursday night. It went around viral. The things he said, but I just want to focus on one thing. There was the shar of, what's it called? The shar of Titus, the Arch of Titus. He was so happy. That's the arch, of course, that the Romans. They carved into the arch how they were stealing the kalim of the Beis Hamikdash, and he found a picture online that they had taken the Israeli flag and projected it on the Arch of Titus. In Rome that Italy was saying that they're with the Jewish people in this, and he was like look you see in the video, look at this was the epitome of we have destroyed the Jews, we have destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, and look, there's an Israeli flag projected. He was so happy. He lived Mashiach. He so wanted to. He so badly wanted to see it, and he saw it was happening, and we're getting closer. There's one more important thing I want to say before I
Thank
sign
you for
off.
trying to be brief, by the way. I appreciate it.
I want to tell you one more
Because
amazing.
you told the whole story, you get extra time. That's it. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
One thing I wanted to say, which was amazing to me, that when his mother was in the hospital, he was napping during the day, and he had a dream, and his mother came to him in a dream, and she said, "They're taking me up, they're taking me higher, they're taking me higher." And he said, "What?" He says, "What do you mean? They're taking you to?" She was in the hospital then. They're taking you to a higher floor in the hospital. She says, "No, much higher than that, much higher than that." And he woke up and he found out that his mother was nifter at that time, at that moment. Anyway, Dovid Yosef, continue to be a Melitz Yosher for all of your Chaverim and this Kehillah and Babiv and the Kehillah in Babiv in New York and all your talmidim who miss you so much, and we have no replacement for you. Continue to be a Melitz Yosher for us and all of Kol Yisrael and your dear Rebbitzin and your family. Ad Bias Goyal Tzedek.
I'm telling you, because you told the story, you get extra time. Beautiful. Haskell, you have to leave? You want to speak now? Yes, come. You want to come? See. Around the other side. There's no space on this side.
Go ahead.
So I really need to keep this brief. I have so much. First of all, my name is Chatzkel Magid. I'm a friend of Rabbi Dovid Yosef. And I'm grateful that I have this opportunity to just say a few words. I'm nervous right now. And the reason why I'm sharing that is because that is something I feel every one of us was able to be vulnerable and open with Rabbi Dovid Yosef about. He was like someone like we all felt, like the Rav said earlier, we all felt like we're brothers, we're a family. Every person he was able to talk to and literally be with them on their level. He said his name is Dovid. Dovid is the idea of Malchus. Malchus is an energy that receives other energies, which means he's able to be a kli. You're sitting in front of him. He's able to bring out the best in you because he fully was able to be with you wherever you were, whatever your story is, whatever your specific place in the journey. A lot of my discussions with him were about the idea that we're in a world that is a constant dance. It's a constant journey, but not that we're trying to get anywhere per se, but we're being. The whole idea is to be in the process, to be in the journey, to be in this world, that this world is inherently something that we struggle with, and that every single one can really feel at home with that sense. That was the Malchus, but he said not only is he Dovid, he's also Yosef, which means he takes you from where you are and believes in you and is able to bring out the higher level of Yesod, which is Yosef. He builds from that Malchus, he builds from that place of just where you are and accepting you to bring in a greater, higher elevation. And just sitting and talking to him was mamish like we were able to bring each other to a place of he would partner with you. He would partner with you, and together, that's at least my experience, and I'm sure I'm not just speaking for myself, because a coming together and bringing to a higher place constantly. But no matter where you were, no matter who you are at any given moment, he's there and he's mamish with you. And like said earlier about Anivas, about not having a self, he would say, he told me, but didn't need him to say, but he says he doesn't understand people that are judgmental. Just doesn't, not that he was judgmental of them. He wasn't. He's like, just whatever. I just know. He's like, I don't know. I'm not judgmental. Like, whoever you are, I'll talk to you. And he's like, he was real in that way. And the whole idea of status, of being something, he just wanted to share what he had to give. He wanted to be the real person he was. Those are two things, if I have to sum up, two things that stood out in my mind about Reb Dovid Yosef, was the idea of a tremendous amount of acceptance and love. And this idea was first, you could feel pure acceptance, pure brotherhood, pure connection. But the reason for that is because he was connected with something so much deeper. He didn't carry himself in any way that from the outside you could see, like, it wasn't about the outside, it wasn't about the chitzonius, but in a deep, deep way. Any one of us that knew him, I think, can testify to this experience of, like, he's just a hechera person. He's someone that this world is not as important as the real pneumius of this world, of what is really here, with the ruchnius that's really here, being connected to that. And that came out in a loving way. And this brings me to the second thing, which is, I'm a guy in the community. I'm a single person, so I've been to different homes for Shabbos and for Shabbos meals, drama, right? Don't love any homes. No, it's great. I had the experience of seeing different homes. I've never seen an expression of love from a parent to children that I've seen in his presence around his kids. I used to drive him home from Nachal Tzi. We worked together at the yeshiva. I used to drive him home, and just how his whole energy, like, it lit up when his kids would come out to greet him in the car. And it was something I started taking for granted that he was such a loving person. But then you see the contrast, and there's such an amazing thing. And I have no suffix. Rabbi Dovid Yosef is with us. He was with me this Shabbos already earlier. I feel that this is us coming together in his presence and recognizing that he might not be physically here, but in a spiritual sense, he's with us. He's still our friends. He always knew that this world is just a shell of something, a deeper world, a panemius. And right now he's there. He's not in our world, and we miss him dearly in a physical sense. Nothing more. I would want nothing more than having him here, but I believe that he is here. He's with us, and we can always connect with his memory, learn his Torah, realize how much he actually left us. He just literally recently made a siyum on one of on Eitzos Chaim, and he left us all those recordings. We can each in our own pace, in our own way, reconnect to Pnimius HaTorah through such a kli of pashtus, through such a kli of anivus. That's someone that can literally, someone that every of us can dip our toes into the Pnimius HaTorah, which we know the Zohar says, through Pnimius HaTorah, through Zohar, we're going to leave Gullus. And I think this is what he would want us to be mechazik in, being real, being connected to the truth, and not make such a big deal out of chitzonius, but Pnimius. And of course, chitzonius is important, but not in a way of gaiva, not in a way of ego, just a way of being real. And that's my few words. I appreciate that I had the opportunity to speak. He was mamish, a dear friend. Thank you, Rabbi Gishelson. And good luck.
Thank you.
You know the 5 minutes?
I will be briefer, I promise. When I became more interested in Pnimis Torah, I asked rabbis around town, how do I connect? One rabbi said, oh, you want to pull a rabbit out of the hat? Honest to gosh, that's what he said. Another one said, you know, if you want to teach Likutei Moharan, never mention anything Pneumistic. Stick to the other parts. Another rabbi said to me, well, I don't know, because it's just like the Kabbalah Center. It was a total stone wall to come to Pneumius, a Torah in Toronto. I wanted to show everybody something. This is one of my prized possessions. It's the Seder for washing your hands when you can't go to Teufel in a mikveh. It's the end of Das Elokim. It's like the last page in the back. Many of us are familiar. And on it, it says, V'hi Noam Elokeinu Aleinu. And it doesn't finish. They stopped the pasuk. So at one of the first shiurim that I went with Rabbi Kidybinski, he continued it on and he wrote Ksav Yad, the rest of the pasuk. So I have this as a treasure. I remember because I was so discouraged, like it was so, when Haskell started mentioning that, oh, you can come to this class, we went down south to a little kollel there. And I honest to gosh, I felt like I didn't even deserve to be there. I didn't know if I would be accepted, if I was frum enough. It was just such a mysterious thing, but it happened. And we learned through Das Elokim and Eitz Chaim and Oisris Eitz Chaim, and I used to pick him up and drive him. And at times when it didn't work out, he would walk. He would walk up to the Sephardi kollel in the snow. I always felt so bad. I as much as I could, we tried to give him lifts. And remember, we would cooperate on that. And so it built and built and built. Many people here are just totally in love with Rev. Itchemeyer Morgenstern and are learning B'yom Darkecha. Many of us are doing that. So last week I got to the sugya, the part where it talks about getting ready for Shabbos. So this section I happened to pick up was about mikvah, and he brought down from the Arizal that his minhag was to dunk twice. First, like Erev Shabbos, Friday, once to rid himself of the voch, of the world, and the other, he says, you should be makavein ab sagma and ban. And I read it, and I went, oh, that's kind of cool. But after I read it, I started to think about it. How amazing that Howie Oliver from Ville Saint Laurent even knows about this stuff. And it was just like natural and just astonishing. And I remember we have a beautiful class of Rabbi Gisselson Shabbos morning, and we learn B'yom Darkecha and some other things, and we talk in the Torah of Panemius. And your face sticks in my mind because he was going, oh, this is so nice that I have a chevra who can sit in Thornhill, and if you understand the politics, you know where I'm going with this, sit in Thornhill and have this kind of depth. And this was all Rabbi Kidybinski. He brought it. Without him, it would have never happened, certainly wouldn't have happened to me and our circle. Rabbi Kidybinski, and we heard his genius brought us to this level in such a humble way. And people spoke about how sweet a person he was and had a smile. And Richie Idell's, Cyril Idell's called me just before I came down, and he sent his apologies. He has a cold, a bad cold, and he just wanted me to relate that his impression of Rabbi Kidybinski as a friend and someone who was a magnificent human being. Rabbi Kidybinski every night was out there giving a class. And I can't say that every night I attended, but somehow it felt very comforting that such a tzaddik was filling the darkness of the night with the most intense light in our city. It was just a few touches away. His
night.
Every night.
Amazing.
Moitzi Shabbos Ashir and Eitz Chaim. Sunday night, Zohar HaKodesh. Monday night, Ukute Maran. Yay. Tuesday night, Oitzris Chaim. Wednesday, Safra Danusa. Thursday night, Shir in Sifrei Chassidus, Parsha. On his Google Drive, with hundreds of hours, Chassidus, Das Elokim, Kavanas Tefila, Lakut Maran, Nefilas Haborer, Oitzris Chaim in Yiddish, Sfira Danusa. It goes on and on and on and on. Reb Morgenstern stresses that Panemius Torah in the start of his Sforim. He always says that now is the time to learn Panemius, and we all know that because everybody in this room is here because they learn Panemius. Just want to add something that what we're celebrating is a man who is and will be historically important to the Jewish people for a long time. People like this do not come often. They come once in a generation, and they create change. It's part of a revealing of Panemius that never existed or hasn't existed or maybe never existed. And there's a bigger picture beyond a chaver, a brilliant man. Hashem is shifting our reality in this world, and one of his vessels was Dovid Kidybinski. He's an historical figure. The pasuk I quoted at the beginning, V'hi noam Adonai aleinu maseh yidenu kanenu aleinu maseh yidenu kanenu. May the favor of the Lord our God be upon us. Clearly, the favor of Hashem was upon him. Listen to that story of his life, how he emerged. And his work was blessed. There's a repetition in this pasuk, Maseh yidenu kanenu, that what we do, our work should be prosperous. We now have this genius, this light that went out. It's our responsibility here to continue on. To continue on. Like the many rivers that came from Gan Eden and flowed into the world, we should help spread more and more and more Panemius and be part of this great revolution that was started by our dear friend Rabbi Kidybinski, who is an historical figure of great importance. This pasuk, by the way, and I'll close with this, was Sadi Yud Zayin 90, verse 17, that was attributed to Moshe Rabbeinu. We know this. So some people say Moshe Rabbeinu himself. Other people said it was Ruach HaKodesh from Dovid HaMelech, whatever. But what we have here is a pasuk that says this to us. Moshe Rabbeinu gave us the Torah, and Shimon Bar Yochai gave us Panemius, and the Arizal continued it on, and the Baal Shem Tov continued it on, and Rabbi Nachman and all the other tzaddikim of the last 200 continued on, and we were zoichet to know a person of that stature like Moshe Rabbeinu. Every generation has a tzad of Moshe Rabbeinu, and that's who Dovid Kidybinski was.
Thank you, Mordechai Shevi here. I've been friends with Yosef Dovid for about 15 years. We met. We had the pleasure of joining through Zoom and through physical shurim. And it was a total shock a month ago. There was another total shock that Am Yisrael's experienced a month ago. But on that, it says in the Gemara, Kasha mitosef shel tzadikim, kisreifas b'is hamikdash. Kisrevat bet hamikdash, when tzadikim die, doesn't say with which age. So how old was he?
39.
39. The Arizal passed away at 38. That somehow shocked me. There are people who deal in certain spheres, and then Ramchal, young. Other people died very young, and there was a reason for that we don't understand. And they depart, and they leave a very big Roshem. Shefat Bet HaMikdash left a Roshem on us, 1900 and whatever years. It wasn't easy. Bet HaMikdash was not an easy period. But still, Kasha, Mitat Tzadikim, Shefat Bet HaMikdash. This you don't touch. I go back to Gemara and Gittin, Nun Vav. It says that story with Kamsa Bar Kamsa, and they said, I'm going to fix up the Jews over there. Echol Kutza, I'm going to snitch on them. He said, they're not going to accept your korban, your sacrifice, your offering. So why? Yossi. So he went and did a move, you know the story. And I really don't want to take a lot of time, because I was going to be brief. And there was a rabbi who spoke for 3 hours explaining why do you have to be brief. There was a rabbi like that. So because the message is lost. When you start spreading everywhere, the message is lost. And ותנותו של זכריה בן אבקילס החריבה את מקדשנו ושרפה את היכלנו, and what happened there. Zechariah ben Avkilas was in Bet HaMikdash, and they asked him, what do I do with the Balmum? Maybe Darkei Shalom, maybe Kvod HaMalchut, maybe you can do some kind of trick over here, you can do Horat Sha'ah or something. What did Zechariah ben Avkilas say? No, you can't do that. Because if you are going to be lenient on the laws of Bet HaMikdash, you're going to have mixed marriages in the Philippines, in Canada, in America. 3 out of 4 students in universities are intermarried. Had it not been for Zechariah ben Avkilas, we wouldn't have been around. Had it not been for events, Shrifat Bet HaMikdash, because everything has to be just so. I just heard the Kuwait and the background history. I once read in, I don't know where it was, in one of the family magazines or something, of Kidybinski. I didn't, when I saw him, I didn't connect this was the same guy. It can be. I took him up on a, he was waiting for outside of Chabad, on Chabad gate to go south. So I picked him up and I said, oh, ala tzadikim, ala chasidim, and he finished the puzzle. Balgera tzadik. Yeah, like simple. Yeah, no. We have a Mishnah, we have a Gemara actually, say, Hatken atzmecha b'fosdo, kidei sheyikanes letraklin. Rabbi Yaakov Galinsky used to do with Einigel. Hatken atzmecha b'fosdo, kidei sheyikanes letraklin. The tikkun that we make in the Prosdor is amazing. The Masechet of 38 years, 20 years, I might say, because he started at 18, of 20 years, it's unfathomable. Somebody can reach such heights. Yeshayahu nun zayin amud aleph hatzadik avad b'anshei chesed ne'esofim ve'en ish sama lev ki mipnei hara ne'esaf tzadik. because of the bad things that are going to happen, that he's going to witness, that he's going to know. Their eyes should be melitiation. A month ago, something terrible happened. We don't even know the extent of it. But a month ago, Yosef Dovid passed away. Like that. No, he wasn't sick. I remember the last year, Chesky, you get me the shir and shocking. I'm not going to talk about politics, he said. I'm not going to talk about politics, and then he goes, a totally different sphere, but very even-tempered. No, Shai Chaim, it's just even-tempered. What do we learn? We were sitting here just a few months ago. Last time we were speaking.
Arizal.
He was Arizal.
Yeah.
Right. No, he was sitting here, and then I asked to speak, and then we talked about, and he was very, go ahead, speak also. What do we take from this? We take from this heights that somebody can reach. There are people who krechts for 40, 50 years don't even get to a quarter of this. To understand, to use every minute, every moment. And it's shocking, without any sweat, this is what that's my thing. The Baal Shem Tov, I want to end with this. What do we take away from this? The Baal Shem, which I was going to say in Hey Av, but we finished up. If you daven, you're talking about davening with kavonas, with rashash, with the different the behab that we were doing. If you are the same after you daven shachris, the same as you were before, so why did you daven? What was the point of davening? You get in the mood, shrekla. Hasidim Rishonim Ayushoim Shohacha, they used to stay for an hour just to get into the mood. Just open the seder and start get rolling. Well, you can't do that. You're talking Baruch Atah Hashem. You're not talking about Vayosha Hashem, Bayom Ha'u, Vayar is the third person. You're talking straight. Somebody mentioned that before. Baruch Atah. Then, if you take it away, take away from this, there's a person who was constantly busy with tikkunim, constantly busy with kavanot. And we're not talking about the davening every day, 3 hours, and going to the mikveh 15 hours. Just whatever you're davening, then you're going to be in a different mood when you finish davening. You connect it. Put on your tefillin, put on your talit. You're in a different mood. The Ora Makif is shocking. You feel it? It's shocking. Just the story I heard today. This lady, she was in Be'eri a month ago. She said they started coming around the houses, shooting, whatever. She was texting with her neighbor. And she's Mesorati Bekoshi. She was texting somebody, what are you doing? And at one point, it stopped. So she understood that they were gone. What should I do? Go to the mamad, go to the secured area? And she says, no. She has Sefer HaZohar. The way she describes it, she took Sefer HaZohar. She went into a closet, masonite. It's not a bank safe. It was masonite. Doors. She sat there for 12 hours. Reading Zohar. She has no connection to Zohar. היה לי ספר זוהר בבית, פתחתי את הספר ודיברתי לרב שמעון בר יוחאי ואמרתי לו, הרב, תציל אותי. And she saw light coming out of the letters, and the light was around her, and she was very calm. Whatever was happening outside 2 meters away was far in another planet. They busted her main window of that bedroom, not a scratch on where she was. These things are real. The boys were saying now, it was shocking stories. They were going to go into a pier. The commander went, the high commanders go first, like Dovid HaMelech. They go first. They don't send the point, the little guys. I'm going to see first what it is, evaluate and see what's happening. They go in there, and he's not coming out. And they lost communication. And this woman who's telling the story said, I'm not telling you stories. My brother was there at that point. He was there, and then they're waiting, and the boys outside who were securing the house, which was an opening to another tunnel, they were going to go and save him or see what's happening with him. At the opening of right by the opening of that hole, of that tunnel, there was a Rosh Yeshiva standing. Long beard, with a frock, with a Hamburg. And he said, Yeladim, אי אפשר להיכנס, אי אפשר להיכנס. Who are you? How'd you get here? אי אפשר להיכנס, אסור להיכנס, תצאו מפה. What's with it? He'll come out, don't worry about it. Sure enough, he comes out, and the commander asks him, what's this rabbi doing here? מאיפה הגיע? So he tries to push him, get away from him. He goes right through him. So who are you? תצאו מפה. They go out 40 meters, and the whole thing blows up to the heavens. The whole house there blew up. They say that there were ladies that showed up and told in Shomer Hamad, whatever other events, they're standing in front of the soldiers and they say, no, don't go in. She looks like maybe it's a trap. This is an Arab woman dressed like an Arab. They look at her face, it's not from here. Go. Go away. They go away, something tripped, boom, went up. And she was 20 kilometers, same story, same person, with different soldiers. They said, we saw this lady 10 minutes later. She couldn't be walking. There was a dove. You heard the story with the dove? Shocking story. The boys were going out fully armed, and normally when you were going next to a dove, it flies away. It makes noises, and then it flies away. The boys were going, and then there was a dove in front of them. They get closer, and the dove's not moving. They get even closer, still not moving. And then one of the boys there, look, this is strange. Right in front of the dove, there was a wire. That wire would trip huge amounts of dynamite. It's davening. It's our davening. Every word, every mice that we make for zchut of these people not to succeed, because it can be. They even hate themselves. It's destruction. We saved them from cancer of the head. We saved another girl, the daughter of her nephew, a niece, or whatever. Vicious. Even the Samech Mem is shocked by this. Mamash. Because his job is to trip you. And he's looking at you, and you tripped. You tripped, even worse than what I intended. You'll be serin for more chazer. So yeah, chazer. There is things that you can do. But serin for more, you're enjoying it. Something wrong in your upbringing. Something in your nefesh or ba'amid got really bad. At least you should be, at least an animal. Not even. Because the rishus that goes in, it has no bounds. We take away from this, הצדיק אבל ואין אישם הלב כי מפני הרע. Should be daven for us. It should be Melitz Yosef. For him, for the family in his ears, he's hearing this. You light a candle by the Moroccans, there is a minhag to light candles. This rabbi. Tradition is that when you light a candle, he comes to see the candle. And it's not a maise. People have seen it. Because Yilachamenu. המקום ינחם את כולנו עם שב אלי ציון וירושלים.
It's amazing. Wow.
Who's on deck? Anybody else want to say a few words? Open. It doesn't have to be Torah, by the way. It can just be about what is it? Anybody else want to speak? Say a few words. On this side. You want to perhaps want to say anything? Over here.
I think I just want to say one thing.
Please.
Everybody was speaking about his how much he gave over for other people. There's one thing that really brought a thought to my mind, what it was. During COVID, he tried to get together a minyan, and we actually got together a minyan. And he had Al Pikabola, that you went from one, we had to go to 4 areas of Toronto, the most outside parts of Toronto. We had a minyan. I think it ended up being like the middle of the night that we finished the Tikkunim. I'm just trying to bring out a point that he was really worried about everyone. He wanted the whole city to be protected, whatever he could think of. And at that time, you don't realize his level that he's at. And even during the whole time, it's not the realization, but sometimes you see the things that he happened to do and happened to have in mind. And I know he tried this, it was interesting, he tried now also because of the Matzav and Eretz Yisrael. He was always a person that wasn't only saying for his city, for his friend, for the message, for the friends. He was somebody that was just worried in general. He was like somebody said, Bechinas Moshe, I could say, yeah, he's like a mammy. He had on him everybody, whatever, anybody could come to him citywide, nothing, the whole city. It was just a thing that's always on his mind, always ready to do. And everybody's saying that all the shiurim. I think most of the people that want to give shiurim or just asked to be shiurim, they want something, matan schar b'tzida, they want something. It was never such a thing. It was him. It was just giving over. And it was just a person that's unbelievable. That's just not around here. I come home every night. I used to log in a lot of times to the shiurim and see, where's Rabbi Kidybinski? He must be here. It's just not unbelievable. But like people said, there's shiurim on the drive and this, and something that even when you learn, you just can have him in mind. And we say sometimes Godel Mimsos and Yosef and Mechayeyan. So that could be, it's a hard time in the beginning just to realize actually he's not here and how do I deal with it. But after a while, if you maybe continue to learn the shiurim and have it in mind, so you feel that tzaddik is with you, and we never know what his koich is, what he left, and if we take it and we can take it further, we can say there's actually living with us. So again, I want to thank Rabbi Gisselson for putting this together. I'm not the one, but I'm saying I think it's an unbelievable thing, and it's a schus. And we should be able to keep his memory alive. The tzaddikim, they keep on living, and as long as we attach to themselves somehow through shiurim, anything that says "Sivsoisiv Dovid Bekever," that's just the thing is that tzaddik, and there's no suffix by me that Rabbi Kidybinski is talking. So if we're talking about him, saying his miles and connecting to him is something that I'm sure that it's Sivsoisiv Dovid Bekever, and how we should be zocher that we should feel that he's still living with us, and should be a miles Yosef for us and for everybody. For sure, anybody connects to him. There's no shaila. We said on this world, he had everybody in mind. So everybody has issues in this, connecting to him and thinking about him and davening in his schus, whatever it is, whichever way we connect, there's no question about it. He's up there in the highest levels, as everybody was saying. Like you think about it, it's just mind-boggling. I know I'm just repeating myself what everybody else said, but it's just. I don't get tired of hearing it, because such a person to come in like as its historical figure for this generation, if there's any way we connect, I think there's still a way that we should be able to somehow connect. And Rabbi Uriel, I think, is calling his Chabur Wednesday night. Is calling, I'm not sure, but it's something. Chabur Days Yosef. It's a start to keep on the life and legacy of the Rabbi Kidybinski. Should be a Meiz, and we should be able to have the gula and be able to everybody meet together in Yerushalayim.
I just want to make an announcement. Tomorrow morning, 10:15, there will be a Hakama Samatseva. Some people call that an unveiling for Dovid Yosef Kidybinski at Pardes Shalom Cemetery, section Lina Satzedek. Tomorrow morning, 10:15.
That's the one on Dufferin.
Dufferin, yes.
We have one more person who's going to speak just now here, and I want to just invite, if anyone who's online would like to show us your video and speak, I'll turn it up loud so people could hear also after Shua.
Hello, hi, my name is Yoshua Meirovich. I met Rabbi Kidybinski 24 years ago. He was about 15 years old when I met him, and I remember an encounter with him. I don't even remember anybody ever held me up. It was a sukkah celebration at No Frills at Baptist in Wilson, and I went with him. He came with our family. He was really close to our family. He ate a lot of Shabbos meals with us before he converted, and after he converted. And I just remember when he picked me up and put me on his shoulder was very, very special moment. I also was there when he converted, and he said a story at his conversion when it was time for him to convert. He went to the mikvah, and he came out, and everyone asked, why did you come out so fast? And because he had his bris couple of days before that, and his wound did not heal, so he was not able to go to the mikvah because it didn't heal, and he was very upset, and he really wanted to go that particular, like to convert that particular week, but he had to wait 2 weeks after. And guess what? That 2 weeks after, as Rabbi Zines was saying about all his dreams, they talked about in the parsha about those two things on that special Shabbos.
Very good, Shua. Beautiful. Anybody online wanna say a few words? Anybody? No? Someone, it's up to,
Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah.
Hi, my name is Louis Amelie.
Louis, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Turn you up 1 second. Okay, go for it.
So I've been a student of Rabbi Kidybinski for about 8 to 10 years, and I studied with him back before COVID for about maybe 4 to 5 years. We used to study at the Bayit a lot with a group, and absolutely the greatest genius that I've ever studied with in my life. And it's absolutely an honor and a privilege to have had the gift to have been able to study with him for these years. And I only wish that I would have taken more advantage of the time that I spent with him, because he was, no question in my mind, a unique individual in our generation. And he's going to be terribly missed, but like most said right now, he's one of those unique individuals that really never die. And I thank Hashem for giving me the gift to have known him. Thank you.
Shkoyach, Louis, thank you for speaking. Beautiful. Anyone else? Inside or outside? Inside the house or inside the computer? No.
Room, it's possible to speak for a minute.
Who's that?
Kiva Lazar.
Akiva, yeah. Akiva, go for it, yeah.
I firstly, tremendous course, it's nice to be able to say a couple of words. And Rishis, the Kidybinski family, Rabbi Kidybinski, and all the Rabbunim and all the talmidim that are there. Just share a very quick thought. Rabbi Kidybinski's entire mahalach was about being gentle to oneself. And I think that if we can learn anything, that practical, day-to-day life application inside how we see others and how we see ourselves, Lamasa, it would be gentle. We have to be very honest with ourselves, but we also have to be very kind to ourselves. And to get into my relationship with Rav Kidybinski is not something that I could even possibly begin to do. But what I could say is that mahalach of being gentle is something that each one of us in our own way, and the world's tough sometimes. And the toughest people to us are generally ourselves. And if we start a little bit to recognize that we're human and that all that HaKadosh Baruch Hu really wants from us is our hishtadlus. That's what it says in the end of almost every siman in Shulchan Aruch, hishtadlus l'soisus hamitzvah, to try. We have to mamish try. And we have to know ourselves. And how many times Rabbi Kidybinski quoted the Leishim when it came to the world of how much a person could accomplish. A person could accomplish to the end of the world, but also what HaKadosh Baruch Hu allows them to accomplish. And even at that point, a person can't do everything necessarily they want to do. Still good. There's chesuvos, there's the future. We're connected to both. Very important and intrinsic messages for us to remember. Now, just one other thought to share for a moment. There's many times we talked about the concept of the Mukam Shabal Tshuva Oimed Ein Tzaddik Gam B'Yachol Amid. There's 1,000 different vertlach on it, and there's 1,000 different ways to look at it. Rabbi Kidybinski said something so clear and to the point on it, and it resonates with me all the time. Why is it the Mukam Shabal Tshuva Oimed Ein Tzaddik Gam B'Yachol Amid? Because L'maisa, the Baal Tshuva's got the roadmap. He's been there. He's been there, so he understands how to navigate himself. And that's such an important and it cuts down to the core of everything. When we can be academically, a person can do academic things on a genius level. But Lamaisa, when you've seen it, you've been there, and you pull yourself from there, and you can inspire people along the way, that's the greatest chizuk that you can give. So all of what I'm listening to and all of our tefillos, I'm sure, he's got a very, very special place amongst the loftiest souls in heaven. Of course, Baruch Hu should allow him to dance with them, to be with them, and he should talk to be a military to all of us. And we should never forget, and we should try and think about a little concept of inspiration and apply them gently, wherever we can. And in that schif, Kosh Baruch Hu should allow us in the Kidybinski family to have all the brachas like Suvas B'Torah. Shkoyach.
Shkoyach Rabbi Kiva, all the way from Florida. Shkoyach. Rebbe, feeling this Natasha's on to Oy Rebbe, feeling sich my kasher's on to Oy Rebbe, feeling sich my kasher's on to Oy Rebbe, sich me kasher sein zu dir. Hinene, me kasher nafshi, ruchi, venishvasi. Hinene, me kasher nafshi, ruchi, venishvasi. Nishmas Adoini Moiri V'Ravi Im She'ar HaTzadekim V'Yaboy Zakdom Oishim Im She'ar HaTzidkoniyos V'Yaboy Zakdom Oishim Oy Rabbe, wir will sich mit Gasche sein zu dir. Oy Rabbe, wir will sich mit Gasche sein zu dir. Oy Rabbe, wir will sich mit Gasche sein zu dir. Oy Rabbe, wir will sich mit Gasche sein zu dir. Oy Rabbe, sein mit Kusche zu dir.
Oy Rebbe, Rebbe, Rebbe. Wir fühlen sich mit Kasher sein zu dir. Oy Rebbe, Rebbe, Rebbe. Wir fühlen sich mit Kasher sein zu dir. Oy Rebbe, Rebbe, Rebbe. Wir fühlen sich mit Kasher sein zu dir. Oy Rebbe, Rebbe, Rebbe. Wir fühlen sich mit Kasher sein zu dir. Kasher nafshi, ruchi, v'nishmasi, hineni, kasher nafshi, ruchi, v'nishmasi, v'nishmas Adoni, moiri v'rami. Zagdoshim in she'ar atzidonios ve'imoy zagdoshos oy Rebbe, Rebbe, Rebbe Rebbe Kasher zayin zu dir oy Rebbe, Rebbe, Rebbe Rebbe Kasher zayin zu dir oy Rebbe, Rebbe, Rebbe Take me God to not to dir. Oh, Rebbe, Rebbe, Rebbe. Take me God to not to dir. Rebbe, Rebbe. Wir willen sein mit Kusche zu dir. Last one. Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming, and everyone's welcome to stay, enjoy it. We're gonna just finish with the Zoom now, though, and we'll bench. And Mitzvah Hashem, we can see that there was a tremendous hashpah that was left in this community amongst everyone who knew Rabbi Kidybinski, amongst all of his students around the whole world. Mitzvah Hashem, we should do what we can to maintain that connection to that hashpah, to listen to shiurim and reconnect and continue to celebrate his life and to connect to his Torahs. As a chevra, Mamash Mir Hashem, he should be a Militz Yosher, and just like Rabbi Sevi said and Chaskel said, he should Mamash have a hashpah in the world now. He should change things up there. He should be a Militz Yosher. The Rebbeinu Shalom should bring us some peace. It should protect Klal Yisrael. Mitzvah Hashem, we should all see the Gula Shlema b'meira v'yameinu.
We do that.
Shkoyach to everybody. 1 second.
Well.
Everybody.